Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Wife of 25 years cheated before we were married. It still hurts. Advice. I married my high school sweetheart 25 years ago. Right before we got married, she admitted to cheating on me one time. While I was hurt, I forgave but did not forget. From time to time I would bring it up and ask if she'd ever cheated more than once. Also relevant is that she said that she was a virgin when we started dating, as I was. That was a lie, but I am actually okay with that. At year 10 of marriage she admitted to cheating twice while we were dating, and committed as far as I am concerned. At 14 she admitted to a third time. At year 18 she admitted to a fourth time, only making out. To be clear, she did not cheat while we were married, but did cheat while we were dating and at least once while we were engaged. I was a virgin, and when all of this came out I was hurt and felt cheated out of experiences because I was never with anyone else. I was dedicated to her even a long distance while I was in college. I'm still hurt by all of this despite knowing for some time. I feel bad bringing it up when I get triggered. And she has been a great wife and mother to our children. Other than the cheating before we were married and lying about it during our marriage. Sometimes she discounts this by saying that we were not married but we were committed in my mind. Is it horrible that I want to talk about this with her sometimes? Usually every 2 years or so. Note, we were married young. I was 20. Sometimes I just need her to talk to me about it. Am I horrible for bringing this up? You are not, but you aren't appropriately treating the trauma. I suggest you see a professional because it's lingering. Clearly the fact she's trickled truth to you over years even worsens the trust. Cheating is one thing. But repeatedly lying over the years is what's causing so much trauma for you. You'll never know if she's being truthful. She has no business getting defensive. If she hadn't spent years lying, pretty sure she still is, you wouldn't need to discuss. I agree counseling would benefit. But you have to interview counselors. If they try to invalidate your need for the answers, they are not right for you. What would your reaction be if she had cheated after your marriage? The number of premarital cheating incidences continues to climb every few years, yet you believe her when she says she's been magically faithful once she had the ring on her finger? I suggest you ask her to take a polygraph and plan to ask her if she has been unfaithful after you were married. Gauge her reaction. I feel this is just the tip of the iceberg. If she was really a great wife, she wouldn't be trickle-truthing you every few years. She's a serial cheater. Serial cheaters usually don't change, and she very likely continued to cheat and have affairs during the marriage. And she's very good at hiding her infidelity, so much that you would have never ever imagined she cheated on you. You really don't know your wife's brother. She's something different than what you thought, and your gut instinct is telling you exactly that. From what are you writing? Your wife cheated and lied to you. You have done nothing so far, so she keep revealing stuff. I suppose she will soon tell you that she cheated during marriage too. I don't know if it is truth or not. It seems that she is trying to keep you miserable and hurt all the time. Either she is getting some kind of sick satisfaction while hurting you, either she is getting back at you. Does she suspect any kind of foul play from your part? Anyway, you should act and stop being the punching satchel, except if you enjoy that kind of emotion. Am I horrible for bringing this up? No, you are not. DNA test the kids, sorry. What your wife did to you was rob you of choice. The choice to say, okay, I thought we were a committed couple, but apparently we were not. Because of your inability to remain faithful, you're lying, and you're sleeping with multiple other guys. I'd bet my bottom dollar she'll say she was getting it out of her system or words to that effect. I'm breaking up and moving on with somebody else. You have also never really discussed this with a therapist or an MC, or even IC. So yes, I can see how this has been eating at you for 2 decades. You were dedicated to her. She did not reciprocate that sentiment. Finally, and God, I hope I'm wrong, cheaters do not change. If she cheated before the marriage, well, you can co-parent while not a married couple. But for your own well-being, this needs to be hashed out. Good luck, cop. She didn't really rob him of choice because he knew she cheated before they married and he chose to still marry her. He just swept it under the rug and now it's biting him in the ass. It was never properly addressed from the beginning. She didn't cheat after you got married? I found that hard to believe. Stop convincing yourself of a comfortable lie. I'm sorry, but great wives and mothers don't wreck their own families, and especially not when they have young kids. She is a liar and a serial adulteress. Been there and got the shirt. I don't think you are, but I think you need to see a therapist so that both of you can move beyond this for good. According to you, you both have a wonderful life together and have shared for the most a rather wonderful life together. Why continue to spoil what you have? I think you are somewhat justified in asking about it because the truth is slowly leaking out. So that in your mind justifies asking again, because what else might come out this time? If your wife questions the therapist, tell her you want to move beyond this for good. The therapist will guide you through truly forgiving her in a way that allows both you and her to move forward. I'm sorry, but this is horrible advice. What you're telling him is to rug sweep and just get over it simply because of a life they have together. A life built on a lie, I may add. Cheating is still cheating with or without a ring. I don't know if it's built on a lie, thus they need a therapist. It's been 25 years and she has supposedly been faithful the entire time. I'm not saying he needs to sweep it under the rug, but if he is going to stay in the relationship, move beyond it. When you forgive someone, that is the end of it. You have not forgiven them if you keep bringing it up. You don't have to agree with me, but I lived a very resentful life for more than a decade and learned I was not truly forgiving the people. Thanks, I don't think that she has been unfaithful in our marriage. However, I am not certain that she has revealed all of her cheating before we were married. Sometimes I wonder if I had not pressured her or caught her up in her inconsistent stories/explanations, would I ever have known about the others? I hate to say it, but if she slipped up once, I'd believe that she had been faithful during your marriage. But she cheated 4 times that she has admitted to you and lied about it for years. She had sex with other guys while she was with you, even when she wasn't having sex with you. She clearly lacks integrity and has no compunctions about infidelity. I would highly doubt she hasn't cheated during your marriage. She's a very adept liar. Even if she hasn't cheated, I highly doubt there aren't other very important things she's either kept from you or lied to you about. One thing you know for sure, she absolutely has lied to you for years already and you still probably don't know all of it. So why stew on something that happened 25 years ago? Why let something that happened 25 years ago, when she was a teen, to impact your marriage today? For the most part it sounds like you both have a healthy marriage. It sounds like you both built an amazing life together. So why not look for a way to truly move beyond it and all of that? Look for a way to truly forgive her and move forward. You're a lucky man, you have someone that has been dedicated to you for 25 years and you to her. You both still love each other. You have a family that love each other. Not many get to experience that. I think you should see a therapist and tell them what is happening. Tell them that you would like to find a way to move beyond this for good. It's not stewing, this woman has bald-faced lying to his face for years. That is a game ender in most cases. Moving forward, and forgiving need not entail no consequences for her cheating. There are many measures for ensuring fidelity here on, and Op is in a good position to assess their whole relationship and how to build a new one from their shared experiences, both good and bad. Only he can decide if trust can be regained, not bitter, opinionated, armchair commentary. If they can rebuild their relationship, or forge a new one, is totally up to them. I would, however, recommend a polygraph as a starting point. If she won't agree to that, there is no more to be said. Her lying has put you in a horrible position. You don't know the truth. You don't know the extent of her infidelity prior to marriage, and because of her lying and infidelity, it is quite logical to wonder if she has been cheating since you were married. This totally sucks, and it is all on her. You need the truth and she must provide it to you. The question is, how do you get there from here? Not easy. A detailed timeline should be supplied to you. I would start with a polygraph exam. While not 100% accurate, they are used by the CIA and FBI. What a polygraph might do is force her into a parking lot confession. Again, it will most likely be trickle truth, but the results of a polygraph might help you fill in the blanks. Good luck, you have a difficult road ahead of you to determine the truth. I would stay away from therapists unless they specialize in the issue of infidelity. Many therapists tend to rug sweep infidelity. I assume that her 4 affairs were committed while the 2 of you were in an exclusive relationship. That is a hell of a lot of cheating. Why should she have stopped simply because of marriage? I'd just be so worried that you have still not gotten to the bottom of this. It could very well be she also cheated after the marriage. Because she was still young then, why suddenly stop? Because of a ceremony on one day? When did she do it after you were engaged? When she did it despite you two being in love? Frown. Dude. You're not a horrible person. You have a right to be upset, and you have the right to question your relationship. You've been lied to and trickle-truthed for over 2 decades about fidelity in your relationship. That's not something to rug sweep, which she has done and continues to do. Trust is a crucial and fundamental part of a relationship. I don't think any man would have a cavalier attitude in your position. I think most men would have, at least, questioned the relationship from the first revelation. A lot of men would have left her after the first cheating incident, let alone 4. What I don't understand is why you're only questioning the relationship now. Have you told her how these trickle truths have affected your trust in her and the relationship? I think you need some individual therapy to untangle the mess in your head. And then maybe some marriage counseling. Your wife's dismissive attitude isn't helping either. In her mind, it's been years of a faithful marriage, hopefully, and the premarital infidelity is so far in the past that she's been able to reconcile with herself, but in your mind everything is relatively fresh. And she either doesn't get it, doesn't care, or is attempting to avoid a confrontation, because she knows she ducked up. Have you asked her how she'd feel or handle it if the roles were reversed? I'm willing to bet that she would have left you, and she knows it, which could be why she's avoiding it. Have you had a confrontation at all? Does she know that you are questioning the relationship and have trust issues now? You need to confront her. She needs to know that her omissions and trickle truths have cracked the foundations of trust. She needs to know that you feel like you don't know who you're married to. She needs to know that you feel like your entire relationship is based on lies, because you would not have married her if you had been aware from the beginning. Ask her, so I could have been ducking other women during the time too? That would have been good to know. I feel like I've been cheated out of having similar experiences, and note how she responds or reacts. If you don't confront her, she's going to continue being dismissive. I wish you luck, my friend. Edit, grammar check. How do you know she hasn't cheated during your marriage? She's a liar. Perhaps she is waiting for your 30th anniversary to tell you. Wake up. Get a polygraph or a divorce. I agree, his gut is screaming at him for a reason. This has the makings of the typical, I had no idea who my wife really was, after he discovered years of lies and boundary pushing, type post screaming all over it. Reminds me of this guy Iceman 100000 on SI. Page 11 being where the hammer drops. Update, wife of 25 years cheated before we were married. Update, I started the conversation with her tonight and she did not deny having sex with the guy during our engagement that she originally said that she only made out with. I have always had to trick her to tell the truth. The conversation went like this. You, referring to me, keep asking the same questions over and over. Note, the question I kept asking was, did I love you when I left for school? Did I love you when I got the STD, etc.? Me, I said, what is harder to deal with, answering the same question over and over, or dealing with you having sex with 4 to 6 people? Note, up until this point she had only admitted to 3. She did not correct me. If it were me I would have said wait. Stop, it was only 3. But she didn't. I kept going and said this clearly so that she had an opportunity to correct me. Me, including having sex during our engagement. She did not correct me. Me, why did you have sex with someone during our engagement? I asked about it 4 times. She still didn't correct me. Then I went into the details trying to get her to correct me. Me, I was home from college with you taking care of my grandfather-mother in the hospital and you still chose to have sex with someone else. She still did not correct me. Me, he called you on the pager that I bought you. You said to went to a restaurant then watch movies, but you still decided to have sex during our engagement while I was home. Still did not correct me, but got up off the couch and came upstairs. I followed a few minutes later asking why did you have sex with him? Then she tried to walk it back and act like she did not hear me, saying she did not have sex with that guy during our engagement, claiming she wasn't paying attention to what I was saying and did know who I was referring to. I said you didn't even know his last name. Then a few rounds of me, you did have sex with him, her, I didn't. I see it this way. If she didn't have sex with the specific person from Wendy's, then she had sex with someone else because she did not correct me. So, she either had sex with the Wendy's guy or made out, but if not, she had sex with someone else that I didn't know about. I didn't yell at her or swear. I pressed her for a few minutes. She said, I am not answering any more questions, I can't give you what you need right now. At this point it don't matter if she cheated with 4 or 10. I am not sure that I can get over this. 25th anniversary is a few weeks away. I wanted to start fresh with everything on the table. So now she's trying to walk it back. I had to pressure her and trick her into the other admissions as well. I am really sad. I really wanted her to stop me and adamantly say something to the effect of, no, I did not have sex with anyone during our engagement. But she didn't, and I said it over and over again. She has no problem interrupting, so that's not it. Did I love you when I got the STD, etc.? Explain that part of the story. Who got an STD? I thought you were both virgins. How does that happen? Honestly, if she made out with someone when you were engaged and came clean, was honest and contrite and had been a good wife ever since, my advice would be, if you want to stay married you need to get over it or break up. But like I said in my other post, she just doesn't seem honest. I don't know if she slept with this guy or not. In your example, she may have just gotten tired of dealing with it and said nothing. Though the STD thing brings a whole other set of questions. I think the bottom line is, given how you feel about this, and her unwillingness to show empathy for the entirety of your marriage, maybe this is just a deal breaker. She doesn't get the enormity of the fact she cheated on you when you were engaged. If you go on SI, there are WS who did that and are completely remorseful about that, understanding that it's an awful thing. She married you under false pretenses. If you can't get over it, and that is hard to do with an unwilling partner, maybe you should just cut your losses and move on. It doesn't seem like it's going to change. I wouldn't fight her anymore. I would detach hard 180 style, and when she asked about it, say it's just hard to love someone who is so callous to the hurt she caused you. You have a hard time believing someone could love you, see you suffer and still lie to you like she does. Don't attack anymore, just go away. Often that is much more scary to a WS than being yelled at. Stuff like, I don't know how I can stay married to someone who treats me so bad. I deserve to know the truth and how this happened to me. Stuff like that. With people like your wife, it often takes the real threat of losing their spouse to get their head out of their ass. But then again, do you want to be married to someone where that is what it takes? Besides that, someone who can't feel empathy like your wife seems to be, I would see as a great risk, even if anything else hasn't happened, and who knows. When we started dating in high school, I was a virgin. She said that she was too. To be clear, I wasn't looking for a virgin. I'd assumed that most girls had had sex. We had an exclusive sexual relationship. She's still the only person I've had sex with, and I was okay with that. She tested positive for an STD and of course had to tell me. Since I had never had sex with anyone else, it became clear that she was not a virgin. I was compassionate and loved her despite getting an STD because she told me her uncle had molested her over the years and that's how she got the STD. I believed her that her uncle molested her, don't know if he was the source of the STD. My point to her last night was that I loved her in spite of some very bad things. We were not married when this came out. You may love her, but love is not a good reason to be married to someone if they continue to abuse you. Lying is abuse. Really, besides lying is the lack of empathy. Do yourself a favor. Don't argue or challenge her about this anymore, she is just going to be defensive. But you also need to be much more clear about what you are upset about. Seems to me even if what she says is true, you are at least as upset that she has no sympathy for what you are going through and how she cheated on you. You may get further with that. Saying things like, I don't see how you can see me hurting like this, and not just be open and honest. It makes me think you don't care about me. Not, you are a liar. That won't work. Detach, and if she asks you why you are detaching, tell her because you feel like she has never been honest about this and it's starting to really destroy your ability to feel close to her anymore. But say that unemotionally, go for cold not anger. You should remember there is no guarantee she is going to care, and there is also the slim possibility that you really do know everything. In the end, you may need to decide if you are willing to live like this, because it seems like she is and this is where you will be going forward. Talk to a counselor. You actually are not troubled about her hookup that happened so long ago, but what you are concerned about is what she has done in the time in between. Sorry, I keep posting. In the early 2000s I deployed to Afghanistan for a year. I don't have any reason to suspect she cheated, and I don't think that she did. But she often used this as an example of how much she changed. Then I say you don't get an award for doing what you should do anyway. At this stage, does it matter if she did or didn't cheat during the marriage? The fact is you can't and don't trust her. She could tell you everything that's ever happened and you won't believe her, and rightly so. That's what happens when people trickle the truth. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. It's so hard to live life with a peaceful mind when these thoughts creep in over and over again. You can't relax with the one person you should be able to relax with. I was with my ex for almost 18 years, and started going out together when I was 16. He was caught flirting with some other girl sitting on his lap about 4 years in, and I was absolutely devastated. Our relationship wasn't great at the time, and I partly blamed myself for not giving him enough attention. I was in my final year of college, working part-time, and we had a young child. So, I gave him a chance and we stayed together at the time. But truthfully, I never got over it. Like you describe, I would bring it up every so often and be left feeling none the wiser. I'd think about it while in the shower, while loading the dishwasher, while dropping our children to school. It never left. Little things would bother me, but I never seemed to see the red flags. Or didn't want to, perhaps. Anyway, one night, after about 18 years together, I had an epiphany just lying in bed. It just clicked with me. Of course he had cheated. Of course he hadn't just flirted. It was obvious. How could I not have seen it? I told him he either had to admit what happened or I was leaving. He trickled the truth over the course of 3 or 4 months before I finally left. I found out he had cheated multiple times throughout our relationship, including once with that same girl only a few months after I had given our relationship another chance. My gut knew it, but I just wasn't listening. I probably still don't know half of what happened. There's a reason you're still thinking about this years after the fact. What is it? Only you know if you're willing to put up with it for the rest of your life. I had that gut feeling, and only when she tested positive for an STD did she admit that she'd been with one guy and was molested by her uncle who did not use a condom. For the other times she admitted I had to leave and threatened to not come back for her to finally admit those. I love her and I believe she loves me. We have 2 adult kids and 1 grade schooler. But just like you, it hits me every once in a while, and the 3 she admitted to having sex with, the light went off in my head. Thanks for this. She admitted at year 18 to going on a date and making out with basically an adult 21 to 22 while we were committed. I can't help but think that this is another partial truth. I know that she was with him at least 3 in the morning. What did they do? Am I wrong? She says she didn't and he didn't ask. What do you think of her explanations? Quotes from a few years back. I've mentioned the 3 guys that I had sex with. None were attractive. The old guy next door gave me money. What was attractive about him? I used the money to buy an outfit to see you. Wrong, yes I know. I was drunk when I had sex with the other guy. I explained I was by myself and he took me to a basement to make me think I was safe. No, he was not attractive. And believe it or not, he had tried to have sex with me before, but we never did because I did not like him like that. I was drunk. I was embarrassed and sorry for it. He did not woo me or do anything to turn me on. I knew what he wanted and wanted to also leave. I was uncomfortable. No excuse, but I felt used afterward. The other guy I had sex with after prom was when I thought we were over in my mind, because I could not even talk to you via phone after prom. I thought by having sex that guy would like me. I thought your mom would keep us apart. She made it clear you did not want me. I wanted to be wanted. Apparently I won't again, it only made me feel used. I am not proud of any of this. I am again stating the facts. I feel bad about it. And because of all of this, you did what you did to me. I did not deserve what you did. I am a good person and I am a good mom and I am a good partner. None of this makes sense to you, but it is the truth. It doesn't give me a pass and it is not right. It is wrong. I am restating this because it's not the way it is in your mind. You mentioned I cheated with the guy I met at Wendy's because I told you that I kissed him. I've never had sex with a stranger and I did not have sex with him. He is the 4th guy. I couldn't bring myself to have sex with him even if he had asked and he didn't. I think she's giving you as little information as possible each time. She's hoping it'll be enough for you to back off. If she didn't get an STD, I highly doubt she'd ever have come clean about having sex with someone else. Being forced into honesty when faced with irrefutable facts and only being honest when faced with an ultimatum from you isn't honesty. It's a survival technique. She's trying to save your relationship, but in the worst way. She needs to tell you everything without being prodded for it. Might be too late for that now though. She says she felt used after having sex in the 2nd story. I wonder why she says that. If she hadn't felt used, would the cheating have been easier for her to live with? Being drunk isn't an excuse either. I'm sure you've been drunk, as have many other betrayed spouses here, yet we seem to have managed to control ourselves. She made countless decisions that resulted in those instances of cheating. You don't just fall into it. She is untrustworthy. Have a good think about any other possible red flags throughout your relationship. If there's anything that doesn't sit right with you, then you're more than likely dealing with yet more lies from her. I was desperate to believe my ex-husband because I loved him so much. I still do. I still wish it had turned out differently. But at the end of the day, I could never have lived in peace with him. I'd always be waiting for the day he finally found someone to leave me for. Always wondering what he was up to on a night out. Eating away at my soul. That's no way to live. If you get to a place where you think she's genuinely being honest, maybe try marriage counseling and see how it goes. I really wish you the best with it all, no matter what you decide. Thank you. I really appreciate a woman's perspective in this. I have no siblings or mother to reach out to since she passed 8 years ago. I would have discussed this with her anyway because I hate to say it, she was right. I hadn't really thought about this until Dewan brought it up, but seriously think about how she worded cheatings when drunk. She says she didn't want to and he was aggressive. If that was the case, she would have said she'd been assaulted. Used, however, implies she had some sort of feelings for this person she thought were mutual, but after finding out he only wanted sex, she felt used. To me, that's what the real story sounds like. It sounds like she's trying to get you to blame the guy rather than her, when in fact the blame is 1,000,000% on her. For whatever reason, she is not ready to tell you what you want to hear. She might be genuinely ashamed of her actions at the time. She might feel it's only a matter of time before you leave and is trying to keep as much of her dignity intact as possible. Or she might simply be afraid of hurting you even more, but not realizing that the dishonesty now simply compounds the betrayal. I can't give you what you need right now. So not right now, but maybe later? Maybe next week or next year. Maybe then she'll be ready to tell you the truth. Sounds like she has more stories to tell. How long are you willing to beg for answers? Personally, I gave up about 4 months after the first confirmation of cheating. You know her better than anyone here. Is it worth putting in the effort to resolve this? Really take a long, honest look at it. Suggest marriage counseling if you want. She should jump at the chance if she has even the faintest interest in saving the marriage. Maybe take a day or two away to yourself to think about it. Your situation is so similar to mine, it's eerie. I found out a couple months ago my wife had an EA, probably PA, when we were in a committed relationship before marriage. We've also been together for 25 years. She also says I should leave the past in the past and gets angry if I bring it up. She's been a wonderful lover, wife, and mother. I have no reason to believe she had any other affairs. She refuses to discuss it, but she is clearly dealing with the shame and guilt. The affair was with a co-worker ex-boyfriend. After a huge fight this weekend and acknowledgement she was to blame for it, she is suddenly making plans to leave the company she's been with for 30+ years. He left the company years ago, so it's not to get away from him. I think she is trying to escape some of her guilt by leaving the job where it happened. PM me if you want to talk. I concur with all that has been said and more, much more. I mean, like, at this very moment. Never had respect for you, even less now. I would even guess that she has a side piece of a few at this very moment, her own little way of coping. You see, when a person experiences the rush of tasting forbidden fruit, it is highly addictive, and even the thrill of telling you about those times gives them a thrill, when they see you are willing to accept it. Respect is on the decline. You are in a very bad situation right now. Activate your exit strategy. If you don't have one, devise one. You must not be scared to live without her, especially for what she is willing to risk. My story is far worse, and yet I survived. I'm sorry, but she probably cheated during the marriage, and at her bachelorette she never loved you. She is a serial cheater. It would be best to get out. She's had at least 4 affairs that you know of, and if she wasn't in a committed relationship with you she wouldn't see it as cheating, but she does, and she also did it while engaged. I would DNA test the kids. She didn't have a bachelorette party. We were really young and had a very simple church wedding. Neither did I have a bachelor party. Man, please, the important point here is that your wife is a proven serial cheater. Serial cheaters don't stop, they are who they are. Please, remove the rose-colored glasses from your eyes. About 6 months before we were married she admitted the first infidelity. She said she was drunk and he sorta took advantage of her. She felt used and embarrassed. Every couple of years when I feel this was, I get bluntly honest. I said you were not my kind of girl. To be clear, I was not searching for a fellow virgin, but not my kind of girl. I meant girls who get drunk underage. She had to admit this first event. I don't know if it was the first, but the first that she admitted, because she contracted an STD. Since I had never had sex with anyone else it was obvious. But she told me that she was molested over several years by an uncle and he likely gave it to her. I believe that she was molested. Her uncles, except one, are straight out of central casting for creep. She gave you an STD? Duckman, come on. Forget about her gross uncles. She too should be in central casting as an unsafe and unmarriable partner. You sir need therapy more than she does. I am sure I do. I've talked to therapists, they say let it go. She was a teenager and she is a grown woman and good wife today. Love her for who she is today. My wife says that this is OCD or ruminating. Yes, I am very neat and organized, but this issue is the only thing that I obsess about every few years. All of that is in the past, but you are worried about your future. She will never give you the full truth, but that's okay. You really only need to know one answer. What happens if you set a boundary? That's all you need to know. Either you will act on it or not. The degree, details, or history of cheating are irrelevant. Her respect for you going forward will be clear. Smile. Thanks everyone. I feel that she has been faithful in our marriage. My gut is telling me that there was more before that I do not know about. Similar to before, if I never push, I'll never find out. We have been to a couple of therapists. Because I was a virgin, the first suggested that I was making too big of a deal of teenagers cheating and should not ask details of something that happened so long ago. We saw a therapist after the year 14 revelation. She cheated on me with the fourth guy while I was home on break visiting her. She said they didn't have sex, only made out, and it made her realize how much she loved me. But she was out with him until 4 a.m. I remember the details because I was calling her, and her mother, my now mother-in-law, thought that she was with me. When I called her out on this right after it happened, she said that she was lonely and I didn't spend enough time with her. I was taking care of my grandfather with Alzheimer's while my mother was in the hospital at the time. Sorry to keep posting, and I appreciate everyone's patience. I do love her and she has been a good wife, other than lying about having cheated on me multiple times before we were married. I was faithful to her while I was in college. I had co-ed bathrooms and never made any of my female entryways mates feel uncomfortable. The closest that I came to cheating was making cookies with a female friend. Sorry man, but kids kiss, and adults have sex. The excuses your wife is giving you are typical of serial cheaters. She is not who you think she is. She had sex with those men, they weren't just kisses. The reality is, you are a marvelous and honest husband. She's a serial cheater who has no problems at being dishonest, lying, manipulating, gaslighting, and cheating on you repeatedly. Excuse me, but we're all pretty sure here on this sub, and this comes from experience, after having read thousands of stories, that your wife cheated on you also during the marriage. You should test for STDs and DNA test your kids. Sorry man, but she is who she is. Her explanation, one of them, has been that she was a teenager and didn't know what she wanted or how to love me or herself. My guilt comes when she says that I am living in the past and she's been a good wife and mother for 20 plus years. And she doesn't want to be constantly reminded of mistakes she made when we were in high school. That makes me feel bad for bringing it up every few years when I feel this way. Anyone have any thoughts on this particular explanation? Does her explanation make sense to other women now that you are older and have a broader perspective? Were you engaged in high school? Now some important facts. She cheated on you in high school and felt really bad about it. So bad in fact that she went ahead and cheated on you again and again, right through your engagement. Brother, she even cheated on you while you were there visiting her and actually had the gall to blame you for it by saying you weren't available. Has she been to an individual counselor or therapist that can help her pull her head out of her ass? Why are you flagellating yourself in this manner, my man? Yes, her therapist advised her to not engage with these conversations when I get this way. Yes, we were married at 20/she was 19. I went off to college, then we lived in an apartment off campus when we were married. There was only one other married undergraduate couple. Sometimes I feel like a fool, because I should have broken it off when I caught her going on a date with, I didn't know it at the time, the fourth guy. I guess I was a fool for believe that it was just a date for so many years or too inexperienced to face reality. I definitely should have broken it off when I got the STD. Since I'd never had sex with anyone else, it was obvious that I got it from her. But I felt so sorry for her because she said her uncle abused her. Years later I ask how she can be in the same room with him. There have been a few funerals over the years. I have held my tongue. Update, sorry to bother you. I told her to list everything or I would move out and file next week. She gave me this response. I will not do this because of the trauma that it brings. I am not changing my mind. I have shared all the details with you. This is traumatic for me and I don't want to keep living in shame. You never have anything good to say about me, never. I do love you or I wouldn't still be here. What you are demanding is traumatic, not just uncomfortable. I don't want to think of any man but you. This is a cycle that will only continue, leaving both of us hurting for things we are both too broken to give each other. I know that if the roles were reversed and she threatened to leave, I would make the list without hesitation. There is no list for me to make. I told her to list everything or I would move out and file next week. So you told her that and she said no. Now you need to show her if you are a man of your word or not. If you stay now, then she knows that she never again has to say anything about it and you will never leave. In addition, I don't believe her that it would be traumatic for her. If she cheated on you once, regretted it right away to a level that she can't bear the guilt, then I would believe her. But she cheated on you once and then did it again, and again, and again. The cheating was no traumatic experience for her. She wanted to do it repeatedly. Just for grins, ask her if she would agree to be polygraphed regarding when and how many times she cheated. My guess is she will refuse. Which will tell you a lot. When we do discuss this, she gets defensive, then explains that it was a difficult phase. That she didn't love herself and it had nothing to do with anything that I did or didn't do. Frankly, that does not help me feel better. Sometimes, when we get heated, she says that she never did it for pleasure. We were married young, so we were in high school when she cheated. My problem is that she lied on our wedding day and many years into our marriage. We were kids when we got married, but we were not kids at year 10, 15, 20, now almost 25. I know I should let it go and I think that I have forgiven her as God commands, but it still hurts from time to time. Update, married for 25 years, wife cheated 4 times before we were married, trickle-truthed for 20 years. Need support. Long story short, I was a virgin and married my high school sweetheart. She told me that she was a virgin too. That turned out to be a lie. We were married young. A few months before we married, she tested positive for an STD. She then admitted that she was not a virgin because her uncle molested her over several years and he gave her the STD. She also admitted to cheating on me once. I accepted this and still married her. At year 10 of marriage, she admitted to cheating another time while we were dating. Year 14, she admitted to a third guy before we were married. Year 20, she admitted to cheating, just kissing, a guy during our engagement. I have demanded that she list all cheating in detail, names, dates, how she knew them and any other details that I ask. She has said she will not, despite me making it clear that I will file for divorce this week. Her response, actual texts. I will not do this because of the trauma that it brings. I am not changing my mind. I have shared all the details with you. This is traumatic for me and I don't want to keep living in shame. Me. Okay, and I just can't stay with someone who does not care enough about me to do what I have asked many times to bring closure. That you are not willing to engage speaks volumes and really tells me all I need to know. I don't see how you can see me hurting like this and not do what I asked. Again, choosing your own needs over mine. You never have anything good to say about me, never. I do love you or I wouldn't still be here. What you are demanding is traumatic, not just uncomfortable. I don't want to think of any man but you. This is a cycle that will only continue, leaving both of us hurting for things we are both too broken to give each other. Me. Selfish to the core. True insight into your real character. You could make this go away completely, but it's too inconvenient for you. Never mind how I feel or what I need. It's been this way from the beginning, I just didn't know it. Huh? I am not a selfish person because I don't want to describe sex acts. I have done this before over and over again. This is a cycle. Me. On our wedding night, right? No, you have not, and no is not an option this time, sorry. We are here because you didn't. The cycle is that I give up until it hurts again. I know what closure looks like for me. The problem is that you do not care enough. You say you can't give me what I need, more like won't give me what I need. I didn't want to put things aside to get married, but it was what we and especially you needed from me at the time. It would have been selfish for me to say I can't give you what you need. And the fact that you don't see or understand that gives me insight into how you could do it in the first place. More importantly, how you could lie over the years, your own personal discomfort. Huh? This is rumination, unforgiveness and judgment. Me. Won't put aside your own discomfort to save everything. Here we go, your playbook. This is textbook gaslighting. I just was not familiar with the term. Huh? This is not gaslighting. You never have anything good to say about me ever. This is obsessive and control. This is not love despite what you say. Me. This is your playbook to call it obsessive and controlling. No, it's what I needed from the beginning that you never gave. I asked for it. You just chose to lie. Huh? This is an unhealthy cycle of unforgiveness and rumination. One cannot love if they cannot forgive. You were infatuated with me. Me. Wow. I really hope you are expressing a feeling and not a fact. That infatuation would have ended as soon as I left for college, especially since even when I left I suspected you were a serial cheater. Forgive does not mean forget, especially when you never give what I need for ultimate closure. Do you realize that you use the rumination and unforgiveness playbook often? I know that my ask is not unreasonable, as it is what I asked the night before our wedding, right? Since you chose to lie, then am I simply not entitled to my ask? Infatuated, do you not know how your actions and words impact others? Do you honestly not know what manipulation is in this sense? End of texts. We did counseling about 6 years ago before she revealed that she cheated, made out with a guy during our engagement. Counselor basically told me to let it go, to move forward. Again. She's been a good wife other than lying about cheating before we were married. I have filled out the divorce paperwork but have not yet filed. Am I making a huge mistake? Should I just let it go? We have 2 adult sons and 1 5th grader. This has been the only real issue in our marriage, but to me it is a big one. Previous post for context. Another conversation from earlier this week. I mean, you could have handled it better. Your search for closure ends up looking like a search for control when you push that hard. Obviously we only have a fraction of the actual conversation. The thing is, you don't need to ask or demand with such intensity the things that are the bare minimum for a relationship to exist. Either they come when they are needed or you leave. Time to leave, man. Reading this just tears me apart. I've been married 35 years and my wife has never come clean. I'm a little slow on the uptake. Don't be me, don't waste another 10 years. You are young enough to recover financially before you retire. Stop talking and just serve her divorce papers. Then begin the process of healing. She is running the show and you are her doormat. My path. 1. STD test immediately, not as soon as possible right now, and hope penicillin will cure it. 2. DNA for all children. It's obvious she was cheating before wedding and hasn't stopped. 3. 100% transparency. Non-negotiable. If she still refuses, get up and leave MC, unless you're a spineless doormat. If you are, then continue on your current path and pain level and stop whining and crying to us. 4. You better start running the show. Any therapist that tells me to let something go, even though I demand to know the answer, is unqualified and should be dumped. 5. Sign and serve the divorce paperwork. Depending on your date you have time, usually 90 days, to call it back. Think about it this way: a guy steals your wallet. Your Rottweiler, Chopper, is with you. You tell the guy to stop and give you your wallet but he refuses. You send a chopper and the crook, Ute best TBXW, sees chopper coming. She has two choices, stop and give toy what you want, or she can really experience chopper. Either way you can recall the chopper but nothing after he engages. Use chopper, the divorce paperwork, to your advantage, or stop asking. The people have read it over and over again, trying to find a different answer to the same problem. I pretty much said this in your last thread, but personally, going from your post, and that is all I got, I think you married an unrepentant liar. Being repentant means having empathy for the suffering caused, not just admitting what she did. I have read plenty of WS who get it. Your wife acts like she is still covering stuff up. Her pattern is she gives you just enough to get you to back off for a while, then shames you for not getting over it fast enough. Oh, and that she looks to men for attention. If you are going to stay together, I would ask for a polygraph. I personally would suspect there is more. I really don't believe a wedding ring makes people change these patterns of behavior. Something is broken in her, a ring doesn't fix that. I think you still have no idea. Occam's razor, she doesn't want to tell you because she knows it will end the marriage. Her only chance is to lie enough that you accept it. This is why she so coldly can't do what we all think would be seemingly easy at this point. She has probably been lying her whole life and is very good and practiced in it. I bet there are also some serious issues in her past too that you have no idea about. Again, I am going from years of reading these stories, but I admit I have no idea, but you have no idea too. That is the problem with people who lie. Assuming that this woman hasn't cheated during their marriage, at this point, is a real stretch. Why in the world would you assume she hasn't cheated in the marriage? Just her taking 20 years to tell the truth about what happened before the marriage lets you know that she thinks lying for 20 years is fine. Why anyone would assume she's not carrying the pattern forward by lying about everything is a stretch. A pattern of lying like this for 2 decades with no remorse, and the things she wrote back to them. This isn't someone I would trust. Sorry for this situation that you are in. I have no forgiveness for a cheater, nor could I ever forget what they have done. The ownership of fixing this relationship falls on her shoulders, not yours. She chose to cheat. She needs to do the hard work because you were the one that she has destroyed. She needs to make this relationship whole again, not you. If it is to bring you closer for you, she needs to provide you with all the information you are requesting. Why is she so reluctant to do so? I cannot live with a person who chose to cheat. She also admitted to cheating on me once. I accepted this and still married her. That was your first mistake. This is traumatic for me and I don't want to keep living in shame. Tell me, did you feel ashamed for cheating on her? No? Oh, it's because you never cheated on her, right? She's feeling ashamed now because of her choices to cheat, and this is not traumatic to her, but for you, because you are the betrayed one. Her shame means nothing, because she has no right to demand you to keep quiet about that, since she betrayed you. I don't want to think of any man but you. Her nerves to say that after cheating on you 3 times as far as you know. This is not love despite what you say. This describes her cheating perfectly. She says that she loves you, but she cheated on you. This is not love despite what you say. You were infatuated with me. Were. In the past. Right? Am I making a huge mistake? Should I just let it go? You already let it go before, and she betrayed your trust again by telling you her trickled truths. You already let it go in the year 10, then in the year 14, then in the year 20. She admitted cheating on you before getting married. After years she admitted cheating while engaged. I am the only one here thinking that she might be cheated on you after getting married. You already know what you have to do. I bet her cheating never stopped. Tell her you want DNA and put pressure on her over every girl's night, work trip, vacation. Make her feel that you don't even trust her cooking. I have never read a story like this, where the person refuses to come clean years later, where it did. The ones whose actions were really in the past are almost grateful to get rid of the guilt. Unless it's so bad that they know it will end the marriage on the spot, like a 10-year affair or something. I would take that bet with you. Why would you do this? Just leave. Sounds like a horrible way to live. I hope he tells us he served her on her 25th. It's not a mistake, and I'd suggest that you file. You have all the evidence you need that you love her more than she ever loved you. She loves her. She took your choice away before, and now it's time to take it back. And the counselor that told you to move on from continued trickle truth about how many times she cheated is a joke. This is an unhealthy cycle of unforgiveness and rumination. One cannot love if they cannot forgive. True, but you can't forgive if you don't know what you are forgiving. She claims that it is hurtful for her to talk about sex acts. The confession does not have to go there. Just say the number of guys and if she slept with them. She does not need to write a novel about each one of her sexual encounters with them. Mate, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think it is highly likely that your wife has probably been cheating on you for the whole marriage. Classic playbook. She's blamed shifting and gaslighting. The gaslighting is when she pretends like she addressed your issues in the past and blames you for not being able to forgive. The truth is that she didn't address your questions, but is now pretending like she did. If she was honest and told you everything, then it shouldn't be a big deal to list names and dates, but she didn't because she knows there's even more names and dates that she hasn't told you. Given the behavior she's already admitted to, I'm skeptical that she stopped cheating when you got married. At the moment, I don't think she believes you'll actually file. Once you do, she may then be willing to give you the information you asked for. Once you get the list of names and dates, ask for a polygraph. Give her an opportunity to update the list if needed. Expect that she'll turn this around on you and give you some bullshit about how you need to trust her if this is going to work. The fact is, she's proven already that she's not trustworthy, so don't fall for that. DNA test the kids and get an STD test since you know she hasn't practiced safe sex in the past. Prepare an exit plan for separation in case you need it. This is now the 7th time you've asked the same questions. Everyone has made their suggestions. What is the problem? Are you afraid to move on without her? Why? It will certainly be a hell of a lot less painful than this. Are you a glutton for punishment? I think your problem is that you want to stay with this dumpster fire, and are waiting to hear that from someone here. You won't. Most, if not all of the people here, have been through something similar. Advice has been given to guide you in the right direction. Yet you ignore us like you're ignoring what she did to you. Open your eyes, please. This is not healthy. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.